everybody, my name is Julie and I work at the Chatham branch at CKPL. As we can't meet up in person right now, we are bringing our programming to you with our Crafternoons to go. Each month we will feature a new kit you can sign up for, and we'll post a video tutorial so we can all craft together. If you weren't able to get a kit, I will go over all of the supplies so you will know what you need to follow along. Welcome everybody to our May Crafternoon to Go project. So this month we are going to be making a macrame bookmark. So included in your kit are 2 pieces of shorter string about 16 inches long, 2 pieces of longer string about 40 inches long. You'll need to get some scissors from home, and this isn't absolutely necessary, but I got a clipboard which I'm going to use to clip it together at the top to keep it a little bit secure. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for now. And I also have a piece of tape which I'll show you what I'm going to do with it later. So to start with, we need to tie all 4 of these strings together. The 2 short ones are going to be our middle pieces, and the longer ones are what we're going to use to be making the knots. So we want to leave approximately that much on top and then tie a nice knot. Try and make it as neat as possible. Pull it through. I'm going to make it nice and tight, pulling each of the strings up through. Okay. So this is where we're going to start here. So I'm going to clip this to my clipboard. If you don't have a clipboard at home, you could also just put a piece of masking tape across the top and attach it to your tabletop. That works as well. And one thing I did find, which makes the process a little bit easier, is to tape the 2 shorter strings down. These are going to be in the middle. So I'm going to tape these down, not super tight because you need to be able to knot your string around it, but this will help as we're pulling the knots up. Okay, so I've gone ahead and clipped my cords to the clipboard. I clipped it right on the knot to hold it nice and steady. So to begin with, we're going to start out with 2 square knots. So the outside left cord is going to come across. It almost makes the number 4. It's going to come underneath and then up through in the center. Now you need to pull these up tight towards the knot, kind of holding the 2 center pieces steady so you can pull the knot up. There we go. So that's half of a square knot. We're going to do the other half now. So we're going to put the right side over all 3 strings. Then we're going to go underneath and through here. And then again, pull it up tight. Okay. So that makes up 1 square knot. We're going to do one more over here. Through. So just be always careful to keep these 2 shorter strings in the center. It's nice and tight, and then we're going to complete the second half of the second square knot. Again, like this. Up through the center and pull it up tight. And there we go. So there's our starting square knots. Now to add a little interest, we're going to do the same knot, but we're going to drop down by about 1/2 inch or so. same idea. But instead of making it tight, we're going to just stop there. And then we're going to do the second half of the square knot. Little adjustments there. Okay, now we're going to continue doing that same pattern, the length of the bookmark about 9 times, dropping down a 1/2 inch and doing a square knot. Okay, so I've completed the square knots. You can see how there's approximately a 1/2 inch between each one. Now we're going to move on and do something that kind of ends up looking like a butterfly, and these knots are called Pico knots. So they're almost exactly the same in terms of the motions that we're going to be using. So I'm going to set this off to the side. So instead of dropping down only a 1/4 inch, we're going to drop down approximately a full inch. And do the same thing. Up and through. And then the other side. Okay. And then to make the wing-like pieces, we're going to slide it up, trying to keep it from turning. Like so. Might need to make a few little adjustments as you're going. Now we're going to do the very same thing, but drop down not quite so far so that the loops are slightly smaller. Okay, so I'm finishing up the bottom part of the little butterfly with the Pico knots. And I had a tip from a friend saying if you're having trouble getting these to lie flat, you can also iron them down. They are cotton twine. So don't fuss with them too much, because then they start to unravel like mine have here a little bit. So. Okay, so to finish up, we are going to complete this using half knots. So half knots are using the same motion that we learned in the square knots, but we're only doing one side. And that's going to make this kind of nice twisting effect at the end to add a little bit of interest. Again, just only doing the one side this time. Okay, and then as you go along, you'll see that twisting effect start to take place. Okay, so I did approximately 12 of those half knots, and you can see how as you go on, it makes this nice twisting effect. At the end, I simply unraveled the strands and left them as is. Just one thing to mention too, you want to make these knots fairly tight as you're working down so they don't unravel, especially this last one here. So there we have it, our completed macrame bookmark.